Hi folks, thought I'd do a short little instructional video, tutorial video, tips video, however you want to look at it, regarding some of the cases that you can find on AliX and eBay. Quite often they're Submariner style or Black Bay style cases. But the issue that some people run into is they want to disassemble the case for cleaning, or they might want to try and do a different bezel on the case. Even though most of these cases, the parts are pretty specific to them. They're not SKX compatible entirely. So if you do decide to go down this road, just know that you may have difficulty finding replacement parts. But if you're just trying to take the watch case apart for service and cleaning, these bezels can be rather difficult. They are normally wire retained, and to take them apart, you can't just slide a case knife under the edge of the bezel. Well, you can, but usually you'll end up damaging the watch in doing that. What you actually have to do is go in through the top, removing the bezel insert if it's already installed, and taking out the wire that retains the bezel. Now, I've got two different ones here because I wanted to point out this is actually a Submariner style case. I think this one came from a seller on AliX. But if you look at this one, after removing the bezel insert, you can't actually see anything around the glass or around the inner ring of the case. Normally, with a wire retained bezel, you would be able to see the wire. There'd be a little bit of a cut in this, and you'd be able to see the wire, and you'd be able to pull it out. This particular one, you can't actually see it. So as best I can tell on this particular style, if you take the bezel insert off, or if it wasn't installed when you got the case, and you can't actually see the wire around the side, it seems like these are potentially designed not to be taken apart. We will try taking this apart with a bezel remover here in a second, just to see what kind of damage happens to it. But in the other situation, you've got this type of bezel where it's actually cut short on the inside, and you can see, if I can get the light working here, but you can see around the inside, get a pointer, the actual wire that goes around and locks the bezel in place. So you can see it right through there. And so what you would do is you would just find the end of it, and if I rotate this around, right there. So right about where the crown is, you can see the end of the wire right here, and then right here. And so what you would do is get yourself a small screwdriver or some fine tip pliers, and basically pry that end of the wire out of the case, and then take it all the way around. And then what that will do is release the bezel so you can pull it off. Of course, you do have to have the bezel insert out, so if you're trying to take apart an existing watch, you'll have to remove that bezel insert. There are a couple ways that you can do that. Sometimes, like in the case of the Submariner style case, it had just a straight wall crystal in it that I was able to push straight out. Once I pulled that out, then I was able to take a flat blade screwdriver and just go around the edge of the bezel insert right here and just pry it out. And so it just comes away from the 3M sticky tape that's in there. A alternative solution is something like, let me back out here, this golf grip solvent that you can get some of that, put it in a glass bowl, just deep enough to basically cover the bezel of the watch, and then just take the case, set it in face down, leave it overnight, and after or in the morning, that insert should come out, because that solvent will actually work its way in there and it'll eat that ring away. So just make sure that you got the insert out, and then yeah, If you got some fine tip screwdriver or fine tip tweezers, pliers, or a small flathead screwdriver, you can just get in, start that one edge out, the one end, and then work it around the bezel, and then that bezel will come right off. And then of course to put it back in, you'll take one end of it, work it in, and then continue to work your way around the case until it's pushed all the way in, and that'll lock the bezel back down. All right, so I'm going to grab my bezel remover, and we're going to see if we can take this other one off just for the heck of it and see what happens to it. Okay, so I've got my Horatech bezel remover, and this bezel remover technically isn't designed for doing dive watch rotating bezels. At least a lot of people tell me that. I've used it on several, and normally it works the charm, especially on something like a Seiko Arnie. Those bezels are notoriously difficult to remove. I found that this works really well on those, but we're going to give it a try with this just for the heck of it and see what happens with this bezel. There's definitely a lot of resistance, so I would say this is really designed not to be taken off. May end up having to get some new blades after this. Let's see if that opened it enough for a case knife. And it looks like it just went right back down into the same position it was in. All right, let's try it again. Yeah, I think that's just doing more damage to the case than actually moving the bezel. Yeah. All right, so been there, done that. Blades still look all right. And we'll take another look at the watch here. Oh, yeah, it bent the bezel trying to pull it up. So you can see right there that the bezel is actually bent. So that tells you these don't really want to come off unless there's some super secret tool that those AliX sellers are using. These, if you can't actually see the wire ring that's retaining it, you're not going to be able to take these off. So, hope this helps. Keep some of you from destroying a case. Luckily, I didn't care about this one, so we're good. All right, take care.